Huge news on the Ford Maverick and the Ford Bronco. So I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. I'm here to help you make sure you don't miss any crucial, important news on the whole Ford line, all the products. So we're going to be talking, of course, new models. So talking about new model on the Maverick, talking about a new model on the Bronco, and we're also going to be talking about what's going to hold up your delay. And if we've got time, we'll even cut into a bit of talk about, what to do if you haven't put a delay yet. Last video we talked about if you already have an order put in. Well, we talked about both. We talked about when you should get your vehicle if you order it now. We talked a bit about, when you ordered, when you might get it. So you want to go back, watch that video. For now, for this video, help me out. Like and please do subscribe so you don't miss out. So let's just get right to it, pedal to the metal. Let's start with, let's talk about the Maverick right off the bat. A lot of you are here for the Maverick, and I can understand that. We've been waiting for ours since July 17th of 2021, and it's a hybrid Lux. Now, we're very late on switching to the 54B code. Now, that's for your luxury package. Ford, of course, offered and suggested that you you switch your luxury package with spray and bed liner, and you go with the plastic drop-in bed liner. Now, we only did that about 6-7 weeks ago, and I've talked about it before. A lot of your Maverick orders are gonna be carryovers. And, if you wanna ask specific questions about that, do make it to our live this Sunday. We'll have a post on it, but likely it's gonna be around Sunday at 7 p.m. Montreal, New York time. So you'll wanna drop in on that. You can ask your questions and I'll answer them directly. But really cool Maverick news. Let's get to that. So recently I did a video talking about the spy photos from Ford Authority. Fantastic source of written information. Really love that. Though they do a great job, that team over there. I agree with 99% of what they have to say. Now, they're talking about a plug-in Maverick, a hybrid all-wheel drive, and some really astute commenters pointed out that, well, that spy photo we saw with the block on the side door, which I said is quite possibly a battery. Some astute commenters said that, could possibly very well be a charge port, like what would normally be your charge port on the vehicle that the body design hasn't caught up yet. And extremely astute people in our group at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. We're all here to help. No one has 100% of the right answers all the time. Well, someone pointed out that there's no rear diff. Now, here's something for y'all to think about. The Lincoln Corsair, all-wheel drive plug-in. I think really what we were seeing is a plug-in all-wheel drive Maverick. And calling it all-wheel drive, I don't know if that's the correct term, because really what I think we were seeing is a front-wheel drive plug-in, but with the motor, the electric motor, for the back wheels. So directly working and turning those rear wheels to give us, when the battery has charge, giving us an all-wheel drive vehicle. Now, Ford has, and here's some huge news as well, Ford has patented the name Thunder for both the Ranger and the Maverick. So more evidence to us getting a Maverick plug-in since its launch. I said don't expect that in 2022. I definitely thought, and I still think it makes sense to provide an all-wheel drive hybrid and then the plug-in. So I still see the plug-in as being, maybe a year away, but an all-wheel drive hybrid, I see that could be really a 2023 option. Plug-in, maybe end of 2023. Early 2024, but I definitely think it's coming. And I think Thunder used on the Maverick, that's probably going to be something that they reserve for an all-electric Maverick or maybe an all-wheel drive plug-in Maverick. So we'll have to wait and see. I have been talking about quite a while now that we will definitely be getting a 2.3 liter plug-in Ford Ranger. So that likely will be, named Thunder, the way that you have Rangers that are named Tremor. Really cool package. I've got a review on that. I really love the Tremor package. I think it is, heck, on the F-150, the Tremor package makes me wonder if, when I compare a nice Tremor to a Lariat, or then, the high-end Tremor to, let's say, a King Ranch, makes me wonder. I think Tremor is going to kind of be picking sales from all over, and sometimes higher up sales, I think people will sometimes pick the Tremor. So it's generous on Ford's part because that Tremor is a fantastic value. We will talk about a bit near the end about, models and what percentages of them are being built. So you can have a bit of an idea, like if you order, for example, 2-door hardtop, is this a long wait? If so, which it is, why? So we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. And all of this we'll talk more in depth during the live. So bring your questions. Marie has agreed to be on, so we'll get her to keep me on topic. Now, what more can we say? Well, here comes my second point. A lot of the 2022 Mavericks will be converted to 2023s. I started talking about this, I believe it was mid-May, and I was kind of not making it as a big news drop, but sliding it here and there, saying that, likely might have been very late May, very early June, saying that locally, we're probably only getting one more Maverick allotment, and it could be an EcoBoost, but likely because of dates, it's probably going to be a hybrid. But even as of July 17th, there's one that came in before the 15th of the month, and it's the same build as mine, as Marie's. Sorry, I'm taking this Maverick thing really personal. I'm looking forward to getting this Maverick. Well, likely that's the last one for the dealership. So locally, for hybrids with luxury package, they will not have gotten through August, September, or October for the original. Remember, that was the original cutoff date. But as far as hybrids without Lux package, well, they have done the hybrids without Lux package. And they've taken care of October, and from memory, they've even done November. So luxury is a huge delay. So before we get into Bronco, let's quickly revise what is going to give you a very long delay. If you already have a VIN on your Maverick, that was a question I got asked this many times this week. If you already have a VIN for your Maverick, even if it's been pushed back 2 or 3 times, you're gonna get built as a 2022. Now, for everyone, whether you're gonna order a Maverick or whether you have ordered a Maverick, please, I started mentioning this last summer, globally, plastic, globally, there's an issue with plastic. There's just not enough. So, here's what you need to do. You need to remove all accessories that you can get, remove all your accessories from any of your builds. So that means in the case of the Maverick, if you can, now if you have the Lux package, just make sure you don't have the spray and bed liner unless you're a Lariat. But if you're an XLT luxury, do switch to the drop-in plastic bed liner. Remove everything. Remove the mats. Remove the mud flaps, remove the covers, remove, the roll up or the folding cover, remove what's in the bed. Do realize that all of these things are going to cost a little more at your parts department because, well, there's shipping. When parts come on with the vehicle, it doesn't change the overall cost of shipping a vehicle in a container and putting it on a train and bringing it to your area. But when these parts get shipped on their own, yes, they will be more expensive, but you will get your Maverick a whole lot sooner. Now, a tough question I had is if you already have, let's say you get a late August build, mid-August right now, would it be wise to remove accessories? Well, they can't push you much further back than that. Yeah, they're going to build Mavericks in September, and I was starting to get indications as early May that near the end of production, numbers would start to go down. And actually it was near the end of about the end of spring, so about early May, there's indications that some of the best months in regards to production had gone by, and that near the end of the line there'd be a few less. Positive note, Jim Farley has said that a lot of the microchip issues, for the most part, are going to be resolved. Like, things are going to be getting a lot better in Q1, so first quarter, January, February of 2023. So let's hope that things stay stable, and globally, let's actually all hope that things get better. I'll say, a good old Bronco cheers to that while I'm having a little bit of trouble with my throat because I have a double ear infection, but I still want to bring this news to y'all. And hopefully by Sunday's live, if the double ear infection gets worse, I'll have to cancel, but do keep an eye on for that. I'd love to just be able to interact with you all live and not just in a premiere where I just, horribly type away. Do my best to not spell things incorrectly. Do these thumbs here. So, more good news. We'll move off from the Maverick, but do keep in mind for every other model, whether it's a Ranger, whether it's an F-150, the general rule is more technology, longer wait. More accessories, longer wait. And that's because things, for example, like, let's take the Maverick, for example, your bed liner or your roll-up cover. They might have, for example, the capacity of all the Mavericks that are built in a month that only, let's say, 2% they'll be roll-up bed covers for. Well, if 10% or 15% or 20% are asking for that cover, you're going to wait an extremely long time, and this is what happened with the Bronco. So very early on with the Bronco as well, I was saying, there's a lot of Sasquatches. Everyone wants the Sasquatch, and a lot of people wanted a wild track. I don't know if it was 70% of the orders or whatnot, but at one point they're making something like 17% come out as Sasquatches. So if you have 3-4 times more demand than actual supply, you're gonna wait a really long time. In my last video, I did talk a bit about wait times. There's really good news to that because Webasto's making a whole lot more tops. And why don't we just, before we talk more about things that delay, let's just drop an awesome drop here for information. So again, Ford Authority with spy photos, a wrapped 2-door Bronco looking very special edition model. I don't know if it's just the wrap, but first of all, the back looked a little wider around the lights, making me wonder, special edition. Of course, the mags weren't ordinary in any way whatsoever, but the top was painted black. So I dropped this about, I think, a month, maybe 2 months ago, how Webasto is putting in $200 million, investing $200 million into the production of Bronco tops. Not all tops, just Bronco tops. And in that news drop, I was saying that there'd be, the plan was many models of top, and I can't remember if it was 5 or 6. But basically, I got asked the question, and I want to answer it right here. What changes do we expect for the Bronco? Well, I do finally expect for 2023 painted tops. I was specifically asked, will we have the white top? Well, we'll know when the order guide comes out later on. In the last video, I said when that would happen, and actually I still have it here. Bronco order guide, it should be the 15th of August, so we're going to know for sure. So make sure you're here as we drop that information. But when you invest $200 million, I'd be surprised if they're making their full 5 or 6 models of hardtops right off the bat. So I think definitely from this spy photo, we're definitely getting the option of a black painted top, and I certainly hope it will not just be on just a special edition. I hope that it's going to be available on all models, or at least a body colored top. So I think we're going to probably see body colored top. So whatever color you pick, if it's eruption green like I want, well then I get a hard top in that color. I think black is definitely going to be an option. Moldening color, sorry, I don't mean to say unfortunately, but it is here to stay. It doesn't have as much, doesn't catch the eye quite as much as body paint, body color paint or black. But are we going to get white right off? I wouldn't be surprised if they keep the white top for a special edition. Something like, well, I don't think they'll go with the name Eddie Bauer again. But maybe like classic or heritage or whatever it may be, something that designates old school. That's, I think, is what we'll get, a hard top. So that's my huge Bronco news that we do have. I'm very positive for 2023 models. We're finally going to get those painted tops. I know it got us all to put a reservation in when they came out. It's what got a lot of excitement out of the community because they just look so very good. Now, back to what holds an order back. Okay, so responsible suspender wearing Johnny is gonna have to cut this short because while editing this, haven't had supper yet, it's Friday. I wish you all a very happy Friday and a great weekend. Well, I'm cutting it short because I can talk for hours. So, well, this topic is gonna need to be covered in yet at least 1 or 2 more videos because we're gonna be talking about exactly what your dealer absolutely must not do. They absolutely have to avoid doing one thing in particular, because it's going to reset your clock on your order, meaning you lose your place in line. And that would be awful. So I'm going to put out that video as soon as possible. So likely tomorrow, Saturday. Then we're also going to be talking about, F-150 and Bronco. Why your F-150 or Bronco is maybe taking a really long time, which is super helpful if you haven't ordered yet. Now, of course, these vehicles are sold out. Some dealerships will take, reservations, and they say sold out, but, there's still place at my local dealership for an F-150. So it all depends. So one way or another, check locally. But I'm going to be talking about what could be causing delays that wouldn't be a suspected delay based on proportions, because when they build F-150s or Broncos, they know straight up we're going to be able to produce, let's say, 23% wild tracks. If you got 70% of people asking for a wild track, you got a big problem. I'll talk about Sasquatch percentage of the total production. How many can be Sasquatch? We'll do that for the F-150. So I've got tips for you on what to do if you're putting in an order or if you're considering switching an order. How to switch your order, when you should definitely not switch your order. I'll also be dropping some Super Duty news, and we will go model by model. So we'll basically cover every Ford model and Lincoln models on what you need to either not order or what you need to remove from your order to get built in with delays, but reasonable delays as opposed to extreme delays. So we'll be talking about what really causes extreme delays, model by model. This is going to be extremely precise. And I'm sorry I can't get to it in all in this one video. I have said that I'll try to keep my videos, between somewhere around 15 minutes. So that's my promise to y'all, so that this can be easy in between two outdoor house projects. We all have a honey to-do list. So good luck, y'all, with your honey to-do list this weekend. I need to get to mine. So thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, please just comment in the comment section, click finisher. If you know anyone that needs to watch this type of content, please share it. It helps get the word out, because when YouTube sees that you're sharing this content, well, then they decide to propose it to people. Otherwise, I'll just be doing videos for, a few hundred people. So please do hit that like button and subscribe. The subscribe is great. It helps feed a poodle, helps you not miss out on any important information. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, a little comment can go a long way. So drop the comment finisher if you made it this far. And of course, I wish you all more cars and more power. This week's 3 videos are all about getting you your more cars, so you can have, a little pedal to the metal action. Take care and see you again real soon.